So in 5,
It's good. It's
4,
good.
3, 2, 1. Do. Hey, what's up, Mr. Bakithi?
Welcome.
I'm all right, Ninjani Majid.
Yes,
Hey, sir.
Hey, you guys, you give me homesick now, man.
Hey,
You know, I wish I can jump on the flight and come home.
No, we wanted to create a vibe. At least the mood is there. See, now there's a KZN there. There's a Johannesburg here. So we're trying
representing.
Very much. Shota just to go.
Yeah.
Hopefully we had some food for you. Or something.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. The time she's in New York and so I was missing the food, home food. So and then I'm looking for umhodi somehow, a Harlem.
How tall did you get it?
How tall umhodi because I need to have my Spanish now, Bafana Nat.
Oh yeah, I'm a Mexican.
Yeah. So umhodi and then siyapeka lapha eflatini. Hey, neighbor, yakwata kanjani neighbor? Ithi yini lento enukayo la? Tell me.
But what's that smell?
So no, this is our traditional home food,
Yeah.
And then she says, but this is really bad because
No, great stuff. No, today. We're looking forward to this interview, and I think a lot of us are really looking forward to this interview. Personally, I've heard a lot of stories from a lot of the legends that I work with this side.
Man.
Yeah, they've been telling me story after story after story after story. So to at least have you here today is a real honor. But for the ones who don't know who Bakithi Khumalo is, how would you introduce yourself, maybe, so that especially most younger musicians, who don't have the history, for them to know, who is Bakithi Khumalo?
Yeah, man, Bakithi Khumalo is the guy who was born in Alexandra. And then my grandmother, my mother moved to my grandmother in Soweto when I was about, I think, 3 months old. So then, I grew up in Soweto. And then from there, every year it's just like, it was really different. And of course, the system, everything was kind of really hard. So I grew up like, every part of the township, Shawela, Naledi, just all over the place, because, my mother moved me around and my grandmother, I stay with my aunt and my nieces, my cousins, but at that time, I was more interested in music because, and I felt like, I had something. And then also too, watching my uncle playing saxophone every weekend at home with his friend. And I said, man, I want to be like this guy. But I really pay attention. And then by the age of 10, and my uncle takes me to his wedding gigs and watch him play. And so we did that a couple of times every year. And then by the age of 12, I told my uncle, I said, you know what, I think I can do this. I'm interested. And then so my uncle, as he always takes me to his gig, so one time his bass player just got so drunk that he couldn't play. But I know the music by memory, but I never really played the instrument physically.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So what I did, and then I just really I don't know what I was playing, but people loved it because I was young and I was happy, and so I knew then that, man, this is it. Why people dancing and smiling? I got this.
Yeah.
I got this.
You're on top of it.
And then, yeah, man. And then I stay with it. And my uncle's bass player, he kind of helped me, to get through, navigate the instrument. And, and then after that, like by the age of 14, 15, now I'm like around in the township looking for some bands playing, people playing in the garages or the homes. And then, so when I hear the band, then I go in. Now I know how to play a little bit,
Okay.
So So I introduced myself to the band. Hey, I'm playing bass, and they give me the bass, and then I play some crazy stuff, and you know, and then get the bass players fired. Like the bass player, you give me the bass. Yeah, a lot of bass players, man. I took their jobs because I was really hungry, and like I had an idea. I had no fear of playing the bass until after a while. I think I was about maybe 18 or 19, and I met Sipho Kumete, and Sipho, man, also too, he was brutal on me because he was like, "You're not ready to be a recording artist. You can't."
Yo.
But I didn't really take it personal, and he just made me a better player because he said to me, "Listen, don't try to come and record when you're not ready.
Yo.
Just get your sound together." And he mentored me, and he's like, "Look, I want you to be the best, but if you think it's a problem, then you're gonna quit." And I hang out with Sipho, and then Ray Peary, because I was recording all the Stimeller's album, the bass, because the bass player job we couldn't play. Ray will come at my house 6 o'clock in the morning. Hey, PK, studio. Ngithi mina Ray, it's 6 o'clock, man. I was doing a gig last night, and I'm tired. This is Vuga mfana, man. You
Vuga. I think it's got some last.
Mase studio akanayo ingoma Ray, but he's a composer of the studio.
Yeah.
And man, but Ray, he was brilliant, man. So and then I work with Ray and doing session, and then sometimes go out and play with Paranyana and the Peddlers, Steve Kekana, all these guys and some Hotel Queens. I just hang out with my home people.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that concerns me with the younger players. Younger players, they're busy with the international, trying to compete with these people. And then when you try to compete with the international, when you come here, it gets very complicated because they know already what you're playing,
Yeah.
Man.
For me, it was about, I was loaded with my music from home, the bass, because we got Zimbabwe, we got Zambia, all these things.
Mozambique,
Mozambique, Chido Balo, hang out.
Yes.
I hang out with the traditional people and they learn the traditional stuff until I bought the fretless bass. That was, that's changed my sound.
Yeah.
Because if he was in the fretless, I'll sound like any bass player, but the fretless changed my sound. And then I had to really understand the fretless because it's not like a fretted where you can just slap and do all kinds of stuff. Fretless, it needs an ear. You have to have intonation. Everything has to be right. So I stay with the fretless. Then 1982, I joined the band VIPs and we go to Zimbabwe.
Hey.
So we play, not in Zimbabwe, actually the town before Zimbabwe, Bulawayo.
Yes.
So we play a gig there, and then we were playing like Earth, Wind and Fire stuff now, and Kool and the Gang and everything. We look like we're from New York or something.
Yeah.
So and then our singer was dancing with the club owner's wife.
Okay.
while the owner was not there, so we playing like I think it was Shining Star from Earth, Wind. So the lady, she's dancing with the singer, and the guy hold the hands with the lady.
Oh, man.
And that time it was not a good time. So the guy, when he comes back, he sees the band, he sees the guy dancing. Oh man, he pulled the plug. He said, "Get out."
Power off.
Yeah, they kick us out to and then but the staff, the people who works at the club in Zimbabwe, they said, no, don't go back to Johannesburg, go to Zimbabwe. It's maybe about a couple of hours, but over there, it's open 24 hours. There's a lot of
it's happening.
Yo, man, we took the car, we go to Zimbabwe, and then once we got to Zimbabwe, man, it was like a freedom. It was like coming to America.
Yeah.
So everything is open.
And I remember back in the day when I did my research, speaking to musicians, that back in the day, Zimbabwe used to really be cream de la cream, where it came to, a whole lot of things, not just music, but also just lifestyle. You know, infrastructure was great, everything was great. You know, but
Right.
I want to just take us back a little bit. You know, I want to know what you, as a boy, as a young boy, how were you? Were you like inquisitive?
You know,
No,
like any teenager, like any teenagers, you know,
Yeah.
because you know, I had friends, and then the friends they're like, hey, let's go hang out, and we go and hang out,
Mm.
and uh, and then sometimes you know they're doing all kinds of stuff,
Yeah.
smoking
Yeah.
and drinking, and then I'm worried about my mother. That man, you know, my mother, because you know she knows about smoke, you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
she's gonna smell something and know, you know. I mean, like, but as a kid, it was a hassle because we you know I've never been to school, so the only thing is like you gotta survive. So
Mm. Mm.
you know, as kid, we go out and do some stuff and some stealing and you know get in trouble. You know,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
blackjack.
yo. Abasakwazi kunjaha manje.
Yeah. Man, Sierra Pera
Ngicabanga.
blackjack in the police station.
Yes,
Choncha
yes.
mabicycle. Siyawapenda, siyawathengisa lapha enaledi.
No, what a very interesting story. So
Hey.
just before I let you in, Leroy, I think I just
Yeah.
want to ask one last question, and then I'll give it over
Yes,
to
sir.
you. I wanted to know, Guti, okay, you already gave us a nice background as far as your career, especially Mosa Semnane, how everything kind of evolved, you know, but
Yeah.
what's the one gig when you were still young that kind of set things in motion for you? You know, where after you played that gig, everybody knew who you were and calls started coming in. I don't know if it was calls back then, but whatever. Letters or I don't know what you used to get.
Yeah. You know, but back in the day too, you know, it was a struggle, you know, because you know I grew up in a house where also you know my uncle, my aunt, everybody's like chaotic, especially when I'm a blackjack when they come like 3 o'clock in the morning
Mm.
to count people, you know.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stress, but you know, my thing was like, hey, look, don't let the stress distract you. You know, stay focused,
Mm.
stay focused, and then because also too, it's not you know the system. It's just you know people are struggling, and so people they kind of rob each other. You know, because you know you have to
Survivor.
survive and that kind of thing, and the system was kind of confused. You didn't know what was going on, and you know, like I mean, it was chaotic. But for me, even, you know, my house, I never really talk. You know, I was always quiet. They thinking I'm sick or something, but I just, you know, I'm thinking, you know, the bass lines and everything, you know,
Mm.
just trying to think to get out of this mess and try to play music to help people, you know,
Mm.
to help my family, hopefully make good money so I can take care of my grandmother, my grandfather, my mother,
Mm.
and then even, you know, my township, you know.
Mm. Mm.
But you know, and now I got discovered by Paul Simon 1986,
Mm.
1985
Mm.
to do the Graceland, and I was working as a mechanic now because you know my
Wow.
mother she was sick and the music wasn't really paying much.
Yeah.
So then you know I take my bass and look for the job because you know, I want to let the boss know that you know I'm not a bad guy. I'm a musician. You know I'm looking for a job, but music is not paying right now. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so he knew about it.
Yeah, he didn't know, but he was scared. So, you know, and then he kind of listened to me and say, hey, okay, I see you. What is that? The instrument? And I said, yes, because I have to practice during lunchtime. And then sometimes I get calls to do sessions.
Mm.
And he was scared though. He says,
Mm.
no, I'm going to hire you, but you don't know anything because you don't even know what is hammer. You don't know what is wrench, you know, all
Yes.
you know, the tools.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and then he
Hey.
hired me, and so I worked for him. I think I worked for maybe about 6 months,
Mm.
and then I got this call to come to the studio. Paul Simon is in town, and Koloi Libon Braka.
Yeah.
He calls me. He says, "Hey, there's an opportunity. There's this guy from the States. He's here, and they want you to come to the studio." And I'm like, "Wow! I got greasy hands, and my pants are ripped, and you know I look like a homeless guy." So
Oh man.
So and then the boss, my boss is singing Paul Simon song, and I don't know Paul Simon songs. Like he's singing all the classic, all the classic Paul's American songs, and I'm like, no, I don't know these songs.
Mm.
And then he's okay, and then he started to sing the reggae one, Mother and Child Reunion.
Mm.
And I said, yeah. I know
This one
Paul
I know.
Simon from I said, Paul Simon from Jamaica, you're Rasta. He says,
From
no, it's not the
Jamaica.
Rasta.
It's not a Rasta.
Yeah, he says it's not the Rasta. But before he says, yeah, Paul Simon is looking for you, I was nervous because then I think maybe there's a trouble. Somebody says I did something.
Yeah.
I might be in trouble or something. And then as I was getting nervous and dropping some things, and he says, relax. He says, Paul Simon is a singer from America. He's looking for you. And and then he gave me money not to take the train, to take the bus, because the bus is not crowded like the train. This guy, man, I mean, if I know, if I can find him, man, he saved my life big time. So then I go to the studio with my bass, no case, Greasy, But man, I knew it once I got to the studio, and I said, you know what, do or die.
This is it.
This is where I have to play. And then also even playing, just think about not overplaying, just being the scene and not try to impress, just play what's needed.
Yes.
But the thing, because too, when Paul came in, there was other record companies, they bring their own musicians because they want to use their musicians so that, they can benefit from it. Me, I was a session musician. I wasn't signed with any record company. I was going to the studio as a session, so they bring Stimela, Jabu from Stimela, he brings the 5-string bass. And so they give him the song and he plays the song. And then when he leaves the studio, Paul says, replace the bass. We take this bass out and put your bass. And then I did that. All the bass players, I replaced all their basses.
Yo.
The next thing I was in the...
Then everybody knew who you were.
Man, because everybody came in without an understanding. They want to slap and they want to do things that they see on YouTube or I don't know how.
Yeah.
But for me, it was about listening to the song. The song is 5 minutes long. Make plans. You can't build a house, start from the top or start in the middle. You start from the bottom up.
Sure.
So for me, it was like, okay, first thing is the sound. You can play anything great. If your sound is not good, you won't mean anything. So for me, it was about get the tone together. Once you get the tone, you can play 2-3 notes. They're gonna sing. They're gonna go to somebody's heart, And for me, it was about that. Like, okay, don't overdo it. You overdo it, you're gonna be out of this session. That's why even working with people like Sankomote, Tsepo Tsulo, you, Miriam, I mean, like I was always consistent.
Yeah.
Start with the sound and then play the song and not overdo it. Because there's so many people playing in the song. You have the guitar player is doing some things, and then the bass is trying to compete with the guitar. Sometimes leave a space. My thing is the space. That's why a lot of people, they know me as a spaceman, because they're like, when the bass comes in, it's like heaven, because you've been quiet, but when you come in, you make sense. And that's what I tell my student all the time, like, listen, get the sound, and then listen to the song that's 5 minutes long. Make a plan, because you can't play busy from the beginning to the end of the song. Then it's a mess.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. It's like, I listen, Marcus Miller is my friend. Victor Wooden, those guys are my friend. Like when they play, like Marcus, he can slap the bass from the beginning, but here's the plan, because every part of the song, he does different things. He doesn't just like overplay, like all about the bass. He's musical, But for me, I feel like, our South Africa is amazing. That country gave me so much to take it to the world, because we have so many cultures. We have so many cultures. Some of my friends, they never really respected the cultures. They're like, Mashana Makwere Kwere. I'm like, dude. I said, dude, learn the music. Don't worry about the language.
Yes.
Learn the music, and then when you learn the music, you're gonna learn the language later.
And it's
For
great.
me, I was hanging out with those guys, like, from Zululand, from Lesotho, Taya, Matsecha, just to be involved with my traditional music. And that really sent me to amazing place. Now I came to America, became #2 greatest bass players of all time.
Yeah,
now,
Wow.
Yeah, and also to another thing,
That's
if
great.
you go to Bass Player Magazine, maybe I think it's on online or something. 100 greatest bass players of all time. I'm number 50 on the Bass Player Magazine.
Wow.
Of all time, and I really agree with it. I really agree with that. I've been checking some stuff up. Like I can't remember. I remember I checked out Victor Wooten and a couple of other people, and I really heard them make reference. Like, hey, Bakithi, amazing. And I hear someone else you listen to a lot of
really
bass
check
players.
you out.
Yeah, really.
No, everybody like John Patitucci, those are my friends. We just did a Christmas record with Victor Wooden, Steve Bailey, John Patitucci, and I was playing piccolo bass, doing some stuff with the piccolo bass and singing a little bit for the Christmas song. But like my bass lines, they made it to Berkeley College. The books now, the kids, they can learn my bass line, and the kids
This is crazy.
they call me, like, it's funny. About 4 days ago, I had this Chinese kid. He just bought a fretless bass because he had the Graceland. I listened to the Graceland, and then he went to buy the fretless bass to play like that. And I said, man,
Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I made it
So
to
much
represent.
impact.
I made it to represent the country because everything I'm doing is because of where I came from, and I'm carrying this all the way to say, look, we struggle, but we got something, and I'm there, and I thank all the greatest bass players at home that really got me through this. Like Sipho Kumete, he was brutal, but at the end of everything he became like my friend. I played on his record.
Yeah.
And also too, we did shows at Kippies. Like, I think it was like 3 days, me and Sipho and his band and my band, and sometimes we play together with Sipho. I'll back him up or he backs me up. And I mean, like, that was never done. Like 2 bass players playing together, and I mean, it was amazing. All these kids, Fana Zulu was one of my students, because somebody told Fana that there's this bass player who played with Paranyana. I saw him at the supermarket. and then Fana's like, hey, shut up, man. Shut up. And then this guy, he find out where I stay, and then Ufana comes to my house in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning.
By time to 6.
Then I tell you. So he knocks, my mother, she opens the door. She's like, hey, can I help you? Ufana is like, yeah, I want to see Bakithi. And then my mother, she says, no, he's sleeping because he was working last night. And when he says, no, I want to see him, he until my mother woke me up. And then Fana's like, hey, Brahman, I love your playing, because he listened to like and stuff. And and I said, man, nice. He says, I want to be your friend. And I said, yeah, no problem. And then we started to hang out with Fana. I didn't know he was a left-handed. So, and I said, yeah, just play some stuff, and it take the bass. And I said, you play wrong.
It messed you up. It messed you up.
I'm left-handed. Yeah, but and then we became good friends, and there was other people, Jaws, and David Maba. So he played with Brenda Fassi, and I mean, like, those guys, we used to hang out and then challenge, ourselves, because sometimes we play like Jaco Pastorius record and then see who's gonna catch the lines first,
Okay.
But for me, I was more to slapping, I was a slapping machine.
Oh, there we go.
you know, but it was nice because there was no competition. We were learning from each other and really supporting each other. Like if Fana is playing and I go to his show, then if he plays good, then I go home and practice and play better than him the next day.
True.
Thing, you know?
True. So
But
it
we
should,
never talk bad about each other, like, you know, I want to be better than him or this and that. And then, you know, we were all really brothers, hang out together. Yeah.
Strong brotherhood.
How,
Leroy.
how did the Sankomota vibe come about? Were we
Which
still
one?
working as a mechanic, the Sankomota?
Yeah, when I was playing, I was still working as a mechanic, and then I get a call from Tepo Tulo, and he's like, "Hey, bro, PK, man, you know, we need you for the session." And I said, "No, you have a bass player." He's like, "No, not like you. We need the fretless."
You got him fired. You got him fired.
Yeah, I said we need the fretless, you know. So then I bring the fretless, and then I play on that song, and then. When the record comes out towards the end, it says, "Thank you, PK," and I'm like, "Wow, I never had these people."
Yeah,
you know?
in the record, it's crazy.
Yes. This album. I mean, I play so well because you know Tepu is my friend. Every time I get a moment to be in the studio, I try to play well. It doesn't matter they pay or not pay, but for me, it's about play well because you never know when these things are gonna end up. You know,
Sure.
We take our craft, we put the money up front and say, no, I want to get paid before your craft, and your craft is not ready. You know, so you know, your craft has to be ready, and then let people decide if they want to give you more money because you play good. You know.
So we put out some questions. We put out, sorry to cut you there. We put out some questions, and the guys were like really amazed at what you did on Sankomota. And the one question that we got was, how did you come about with those grooves on Sankomota? Because if you are another bass player trying to play in those grooves, you cannot play what you want to play, but you have to play what's in the record because it's really that good. So how did those grooves come about?
For me, it was, you know, I mean, I still do this, you know, 50 years later, you know, because, you know, when somebody gives me the song, I listen to everything. I don't just listen to my bass part, you know, oh, yeah, they sent me a song, let me play the bass. No, I listen to the whole song and say, okay, what's going on in the song? Who's playing what? And then how I can borrow the line from the guitar player so I can make my own thing. Because everything is right there, you know, it's right there. So you just gotta pick and choose, you know, and make it happen, and keep things simple. Like Tepo is singing in the beginning, I'm just sitting in the groove, and I'm playing with the drums, not you know listening to Tepo, but I'm digging in with the drum, and then
oh man,
once Tepo finish singing, then I come up with the line that I got from the guitar player, just and then change it a little bit because the sound is different, the bass and the guitar. The bass is more, and then, you know, just listen to that, but and then also stay with the groove because the drummer is my friend for the next 5 minutes.
Still talking about drummers.
And then, you know, we watch each other too. You know, also too, how I play so much group because Vusi is my cousin, Vusi Khumalo.
Yeah.
And Vusi we play since we were kids, and I used to sit on his bass drum. Sometimes he hits me with a stick because maybe I'm playing fast, you know, I'm playing a little faster. Hey, bro.
Jungle Buzz.
So, you know, so I had to listen to him, you know, and then play and groove with him. And we had a killer band, the Varukweru, and then we had Tata with Rashid Lani now, Bushi, Sierra, you know, I mean, like the band was growing now. So now the way we were doing it now as we grow up, we're starting to get into like, you know, Chicoreas, playing Spain and playing these complicated songs. And that's when I quit the band and I said, I can't do this because we're playing music that people don't understand. They don't even know how to dance for this music. Okay. Why are we doing it? Because we struggle. Like I learned Spain for like 6 weeks. I'm trying to figure out. For 6 weeks, you in like 2 bars. And the song is long, you know. You still got a long way to go.
Okay, you just cut one cycle.
Yeah. Well, here's a funny story. One time I was trying to play the jazz. I got a gig with Ellen Quella. Ellen Quella says, "Go listen to jazz." So I listened to Ron Carter, and the big bass is moving. All the notes are moving. So man, I played 3-4 notes, and I said, "Nah, I cannot do this," because what I didn't understand, the chords, like he's moving on minor or major or flat and fifth.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't know back then. I thought the bass, you play any note,
Oh.
but yeah, there's no wrong note.
Yeah. Until you found out it's not, this harmony is not the one.
Yeah. And then Ellen Kola says, "Hey, udlala masima when I'm fine." I'm going practice. Yeah. But
man.
But I tell you one thing, man. I was blessed that I grew up in the area where there was amazing people like Kippy Markets. I met Kippy before he passed away, and at Kippy's, and he told us, "Guys, take care of this place. This is a legendary house. You guys, you're gonna be someday legendary. So take care of this. Play to be here," because Kippy was different. I mean, like you could hear his horn and I play with Chris McGregor because when I just came back from US and I was tired, I was ready to go home and sleep, but then they told me, "Bro, Victor Antone had music written for Chris McGregor, big band." So he couldn't find a bass player. No bass player wanted to do it. So I took the gig, and the music was hard, but I played it. So
nice.
For me, it was about really learning. Even today, I learn. I mean, I played with Herbie Hancock, played with David Sanborn, Bob Menzer, Shaka Khan, Gerald Albright, Jonathan Butler. I mean, this goes on and on. Josh Groban. I went on tour with all these people. Learning, because music, you never stop learning. If somebody tells me I'm great, good luck. Because you never stop. You learn all the time. I mean, like I play with Irish musicians and I play with rock and roll musicians because I can adjust.
Wow.
Sure.
I can adjust. I can play for children's music.
Yeah.
It's all about adjustment and learn and not bring the attitude like, "Oh yeah, it's me." But just go learn.
So can I just jump in? I just also wanted to know, because I mean, in the many things that I've heard about you, I can't remember who it was that told me. We're driving to a gig somewhere. And they're like, "Hey, Bakithi Khumalo, man, that guy." And they start speaking about how determined you were. Even I think, I don't know if you taught yourself to read music or what it was, but somebody was telling me that you'd get to the gig.
The finger technique.
I don't know if it's the finger technique or if it was the reading or what it was, but I was told that you'd get to the gig, play the gig. After the gig, you'd go back to the hotel and work some more on whatever that needed to happen. So do you know how to read music or what? I can't remember what it was they were talking about, but I thought they were talking about reading.
Yeah, I didn't read music in South Africa because I was focusing on the traditional that was not written, which is thank God that, because if our music is written, we'll be gone. We won't have anything. I didn't read, but there was a lot of cats, talking about reading jazz and everything, and I just hate it because, and I feel like music was played before it was written.
True.
You understand? Like Coltrane, he will play something and then write it down. So, some other people, they take it the other way, like, "Oh, you have to read music." If you don't have a feel and you don't use your head, then, I mean, you need to read. Even people that they read music, they still cannot, they don't have a feel. You sacrifice, you read good, but your tone,
the feeling is gone.
Your feel is not good. But then once I moved to New York, then and then I got married, and then I got 2 kids. And when I take my kids to the schools and music schools, so I have to help them when they come home with their music. So that's when
there we go.
When they go to schools, all day studying. Me, I go to another music school, Stony Brook University, and I study in university just to know how to use computer and how to write music or read music. so I did that a couple of times, and then I started to get session with written music. Now, I mean, I read like crazy.
Okay,
You know,
great.
sometimes like if I don't want to spend time, like I did the Lion King movie. I played on the soundtrack. The
Yeah.
music was written, so I have to play
Oh,
what's written. Sometimes they want to play what's written, so I had to do that so that I don't limit myself.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I had to do sessions, and I played for the Big Apple Circus, the circus, and I sub for Lion King for other bass players, just to get in the loop, because now if you don't read music, then you get shut down because
yeah, people want to
yeah,
move.
eh?
People want to move with
you
They
speed.
want to move fast.
yeah, you have to go all around. You have to know. That's why I'm saying that music, you don't stop learning,
Sure.
because you're going to go to Brazil, they give you samba and you have a problem. So you got to learn. So you are in a different college,
Yeah.
and you go
Sure.
to Irish,
Yeah.
Sure.
it's about learning.
Sure.
Yeah.
Lee.
What's the deal with the Kalu base? Is it a paid partnership or is it an endorsement?
The color?
Kalu base.
Yeah.
Kala U base. Kala U base.
So here's a story about Carla. I met Carla about 10 years ago. I was at the NAM show in California, and then one of my friends who used to work for SWR Basem, he was
Yes.
working for Carla. So as I was, going around at the NAM show, and I see him, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, look, dude, come here, come join us here. I'm working for Carla," and I'm like, "What is this here? Ukulele bass? It's for the kids,
Yeah.
And he says, "Yeah,
It's
no,
so
well,
short.
kids can play it, but you can play it too." And then he gave me the bass, and then I started to play the bass. I couldn't stop playing it because the bass, it was not like a regular bass. So that means I cannot rush it. I have to learn it, because it's small. So you have to
It's
adjust
smaller,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. So I did that, and I love the bass. I took the basic, I said, take it home. I took it home. Then I find problems with the bass, like, okay, I like the bass, but there's problems. How can I change this? And these guys, they opened the doors for me. They're like, hey, look, let us know what you want us
Wow.
to do to improve this thing. And I said, great. Now, with Carla, I said to them, you know what? I think the bass need the pick guard, because once you put the pick guard, the sound, instead of being a wood, you get much toner, a tone, because the pick
Yeah.
guard is a plastic. It kind of give you a little damp sound, and then also too, you don't damage the body of the bass. And then they took my idea. Now my
Got a huge
signature,
sound.
my Bakithi Khumalo signature is coming out October. I don't know what date, but October they're gonna start bringing these basses. And then also too, the reason I want to do this, I want to bring this bass at home and put them in the schools. Make sure that the little kids, they have the music, because if the bass saved my life to leave South Africa to go to the world,
Imagine.
so it can help the kids. And I'm fighting hard to make sure that our schools in South Africa, these kids, they have a piano and drums. Every school, that'd be amazing, because we have the
Hey,
talent, but
man.
we don't have the tools. So now,
That bass has a huge sound.
yeah, it's amazing. And we did something, me and Abel Boreal. Oh my God, man. Abe, because Abe plays wild, he's got this, different technique, but he makes that bass sound like unbelievable, like a percussion or a drum or something.
Yeah.
And Nathan East too plays that the U bass, and Tal Wakefield, Oscar Kataya, a bunch of people, they play the bass.
Sorry.
Oh,
Now
nice.
it's interesting. I'm gonna see Stanley Clark on September. I'm doing a bass boot camp with Gerald Beasley, and Stanley Clark is gonna be there, and then some other bass players. And so Stanley, I'm gonna keep
Big
Stanley.
names.
Oh no, those are my buddies,
Yeah. No.
and then when I tell them that they really helped me to modify my playing, to take my traditional and make it make sense, because and I didn't want to play like Marcus Miller, but I wanted to see how he approached the music. and what is it doing. So, and I got there to do that on my music, our music.
Yeah. So I also wanted to find out, you know, one of the biggest things is that we're afraid to step into new terrain. Like, for example, if I'm a South African musician, you know, it's one of the most scariest things to leave South Africa and go start a life in America.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of my biggest questions is, how did you find it? Obviously, yeah, it was a great thing, because we also interviewed Khumalo, and he told us about, you know, your experiences.
So many stories about
so many stories about even when you were overseas performing, and I mean, you were playing like in the biggest venues, biggest events, you know, that side, and everybody knew who you were, you know, and you were hanging around, you know, a lot of big names, obviously, because you're also big musicians, you know. But I just wanted to know, which now adjusting from South Africa to New York, or no, not New York, America. I don't know which state you're in. How did you find it? How did you find the adjustment? Was it easy? Was it difficult? And if it was difficult, what was the biggest challenge you found?
My friend, I will tell you one thing: challenges is what makes me better.
Okay.
You know, I because you have to be challenged. It's like a boxer, you know, you fight 2, 3, 4 rounds, and then you're gonna say, "No, I'm gonna beat this guy, man. I'm gonna take the 6th round."
Sure.
Yeah. So because you wanna win, there's 2 people who wants to win. But for me, it was a crazy adjustment, because I you know, I just moved here, and then everything is different, you know, and you know, the weather is different, the food is different, and I mean, everything is just got so different. But because I want to learn, I said, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna deal with this. It's gonna take me a while, but I'm learning. I'm gonna learn, and I'm gonna move forward. So I had to adjust, and then, you know, I married an American lady, and she started to drive me really crazy. Like, hey, look, you know, now you're here. Well, now there's no Zulu things that you do. Like, you don't take care of the babies, you know. You have to take the kids to the park and, you know, do things that you're supposed to do as a father.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I learn now. I mean, you know, my kids, they finish college. 2 kids finish college.
Wow, nice.
Now they're teaching music, and they you know, like right now, they're doing summer camps. You know, one of them, she's in Virginia, and then the other one, she's in New Jersey. And so, but the adjustment was so hard, man, and everything is called different, you know, like the tomato sauce is ketchup here.
Ketchup. Yeah.
I'm at supermarket, I say, I want tomato sauce.
I'm at chips and French fries. Hey,
yeah, I'm
a French fries.
I'm a fries. Hey,
yeah, I'm a chips left in McDonald's. I want my chips.
Ngifaka ama-ounce, akalmalitha lapho.
Hey, so it's a serious adjustment.
But it was adjustment, and then also too, you know, I mean, I had to take opportunity, because it was much better learning here than at home, because at home it was very hard, because we had no opportunity, you know. Like, I mean, I wanted to go to school, but because the way the system was so brutal, you know, you just give up. You give up, and but here, you know, they give you opportunity. You can go to a night school free. You don't pay for it.
Wow.
You can pay later when you get a job. You finish college, then you start, you know. But you've been given an opportunity. I remember when I first moved here, man. I remember I was walking around at night, like 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's bright everywhere. It's like daytime. You okay? You know, because and I'm like, wow. At home, you know, at nighttime you walk like you. Yeah. I remember a time at home I was walking, and then it was windy, and I'm scared. And then the wind blows the paper, and the paper hit the fence, man. I couldn't even run. My knees just locked down, and I said, oh, I'm in trouble now. But you know what, man, you know, life is about adjustment. It's not about where you come from. It's about where you're going.
Yeah.
You have to move forward. You have to go forward and just take chances.
Yeah.
You know, be better, you know, compete with yourself. You know, be better than yourself. You know, every year just try to you know, to be that and be better, because that's life. You know.
All right, Lee, would you like to jump in? I think I've got 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But after you.
We put out your poster on Facebook, and we got a lot of questions that people wanted to ask you. I'll just start with the first one. This is from Greg Katz. He wanted to know how was it working with Graceland, and who is one of your favorite drummers in South Africa? I think you just answered that one.
Man, you know, I tell you, every
without
drama,
being biased.
but every drama in South Africa is my favorite. You know, I played with Khumalo for a long time, and it was beautiful. And then also too, I play with Madoda Matunjwa, Mac's brother, Mac Madoda, and Mac. I work with Mac together. We were rhythm section from Paranyana, and I mean, Madoda was an amazing drummer. And I mean, there's so many, Lulu Konsana, Isaac Mchali, especially.
Oh yeah, wow, nice.
Yeah, now we did a lot of session with him. Hey, when I'm bad, you know,
high energy.
High energy. And then he says, play the groove, play the groove, you know, like Carlos. So, you know, but you know, so many great dramas. And then there was another one with the group called The Drives. Man, now I forgot his name. He was amazing, and he was a singer and playing the drums as well. And Jabu Sibumbe also too. He was a brilliant drummer. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, there was so many.
There's a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and Gilbert Matthews, and then he had to leave South Africa and go to Europe. Chris, the Brotherhood of Bread. Man, like, he was playing with.
The list is endless.
yeah, it's endless. You know, there was so many great musicians and so many bass players, great bass players, keyboard player Jabu Nkosi, you know, Mac Matunjwa, the late Mac, man, rest in peace, my brother. You know, but yeah, you know, everything was at school back in my days, you know, because, you know, I just turned 65 not too long, May 10th. And
wow.
Now I look
Happy
back.
belated birthday.
Man, thank you. And I look back and I said, wow, man, you know, all my friends that day really helped me with my music to get to this point. They're gone, you know, but I'm here to represent them, you know.
I'd like to jump in. I'd like to jump in, Lee, just before you finish some of those questions. There's
just 2 more left. Yeah, it's cool.
Right. There's one of the things that happened when we were talking to Bravos. He was just explaining to us about back in the day when you guys started playing, you know, and all of those painting the picture. And one of the funniest stories that he was telling us about how you used to get like fast lines. You know, you discovered that when a battery when a battery goes flat, you know, the lines become slower. It's like better. So now to practice, you now needed like a flat battery to find those lines. Is that true? I just want
it is true.
Because you couldn't slow them down.
It slows it down. It just, you know, they found it. It was a nice gimmick. No, nice thing to find. Nice tool.
Yeah, you slow me down. But you know, now the thing, what happened? We went to Zululand when I joined the VIPs 1974. I joined the band VIPs, and then we go to Zululand, and we play like all these places, you know, hospitals, jails, you know, schools. And I was playing with the thumb like this, you know. Playing the bass with the thumb like that. And then one time I dreamed this guy playing the bass like this with fingers. I couldn't see the guy's head, but I just see the hands like this. And then I woke up the next morning, man, I tried this. I remember the dream and I tried this like that. It was so hard because I'm so used to play with the thumb and my tone was like, now when I changed and used my fingers, man, everything became so simple and the tone got better and better and better. And then we got stuck in Zululand like 16 months. Then after that we go home, and man, that's when I started to get a lot of sessions now, because I was playing this way and learning all the slapping, and so I took off with everything.
Amazing.
But like I said, it was about adjustment, and two, drinking was not my thing, because
Okay.
sometimes I used to trick the guys. I get a bottle of beer and then I fill up with water or Coca-Cola. Yeah. Yeah, it keeps, I'm listening to some music, they're playing, everybody's drinking. I'm like, yeah,
Nice one.
Yeah.
Then I go home and practice, because it's like, the drinking was just not a good thing for me. I get sick, every time, but I had to stay really focused. And then even telling my friends, sometimes I invite them to my apartment and cook for them and cook salad. They tell me, don't give us the cow's food. It's a nice salad, it's healthy.
Yo, and look at how fresh you look. I mean,
Yeah,
at
imagine.
65.
Yeah.
I wouldn't guess. Look at that. Go for it. Go for it.
It worked out. It worked out. We recently hosted Huma CLS drama, Leroy Salz. So he wanted to ask, touring with Paul Simon so many years, what was his best experience? What was he able to buy a property in the States? And okay, you already answered the who's favorite drama parts, but he wanted to just find out your best experience with Paul Simon.
Oh man, so many to see the world, the different parts of the world.
I'm sure.
Excuse me. The most important thing is playing with Steve Gadd. Playing with this guy, it was unbelievable, because Steve Gadd played with some so amazing people, like Anthony Jackson, Marcus Miller, just list goes on and on. But to be on tour with him and having breakfast with him every morning and talk about, hey, how are we gonna play this groove for this show, and I listen to him all the time. He says to me, don't follow them. If somebody's speeding up, don't speed up with them. You stay with me. And then I stay next to him. Every time he set up his drums, he was, where's Bakithi setting up? He brings me close to him so I can play with him. And I learned from him to also to lock in. Now I'm in a different side now. I'm in American, working with Steve Gadd and working with Omar Hakim, working with David Garibaldi from Tower of Power, working with Vinny Colaiuta. I just did a session with Vinny Colaiuta in Los Angeles not too long ago. And like, this guy is a beast. When you play with him, you don't listen to him, you listen to your part.
He'll displace you out. Like, hey, what's up?
What's happening? Where you at?
Paul is a brilliant mentor, because playing with him, he's a singer and he knows every part of musician, what you're playing, who's playing what.
Wow.
Because he wants to make sure that when he's singing, nobody's gonna be getting on the on the vocal thing. And then also he changes music all the time so that he keeps the band flexible.
Sure.
So you have to be always every sound check we change the song, and then before the show he says, well, don't worry about that today, but tomorrow we're gonna play the way the new change. So it keeps you really up all the time. That's why for me, after the gig, I go to the hotel and work another 4 hours, practice, clean up the stuff, and then when I go back the next show, I play better all the time. Yeah, because if I said, no, I'm finished the show, now I go to a bar and start drinking, the next day I'm coming up with the same thing. It's
I hear you.
Yeah, for me, it's about just stay on top of your game. This is a gig, you're getting paid to do your gig.
It's work, yeah.
Do it right,
Go fix some things. And then I work with the engineer too. And I said, hey, listen, when we play the show, tape the show. Send me the MP3.
Yes.
Because then I can listen to what I did the night before and play better the next show.
Wow. So
always thinking.
No, thank you.
Last question from our viewers. This is from Vincent Mtetwa. He's a pianist. He graduated in KZN. Yes. So he wanted to know how is it being living in the US compared to South Africa in general? Does any muso from this side get enough work there? or is it dependent on who you know?
Well, man,
Do you feel okay? The last part is do you feel that South African musicians in America can get more work? And do you still consider a revival tour or a show with the old Sankomota living legends, example about Tepotsule and etc.? It's quite a lengthy
yeah,
one.
yeah. I mean, it's all of that stuff. You know, I mean, like, you know, for me, I was saved by playing on this record that was #1 best-selling record, and I got Grammy. So the world, they knew who I was. But you know, if you
Yeah,
come here, when you don't have a name, it's really hard unless you have something really that's gonna be different. But if you play jazz, they already have Eddie Hancock, you know, all these amazing jazz, you know.
musicians.
Yeah, but you see, now here's the difference with Ibrahim Abdul.
Mm,
He was different than McCoy 10 and all these people because he played his home thing
mm,
with like really some amazing voices.
mm,
And that's why for him too, he became a legend here. And
mm.
you know, my thing is because I played the fretless and not too many people play fretless. It was Jaco and then maybe some, you know, some other player now they play, you know, but you have to have a voice in order to survive here because, you know, people, they're not going to come to your show when they don't know who you are, you
Sure.
know.
yeah,
It's either
true.
maybe your record label is pushing you or something, you know, but it's not easy. It's not easy, but you know, you don't give up. You just kind of find a way of making it happen different so that you can, you can, come here. Like, you know, I want to bring some talented kids to Berkeley College. But when you come to Berkeley College, they ask you to play music from home so that they can learn from you and
Mm.
then teach you how to write your own music from home so
Okay.
you can
Wow,
become a
nice.
better writer. But if you come and play jazz, they don't need that because already they got like a 10-year-old who play jazz like unbelievable.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know,
Yeah,
So,
you know, it's just that you have to bring that music from home. The voicings, you can change the voicings, but have the traditional.
sure.
And then when you bring that here, it's different. That's why Brahu was successful. Even Vusi Matlasela, he
Mm.
doesn't sing like, you know, Luther Vandross.
Yeah, yeah, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
no.
No,
You know,
so
they like that. They're like, wow. Even my daughter one time he says, wow, Dad, you know, this guy is big, but he sings with a small voice. And I say,
Small
well,
voice.
that's his style, you know.
yeah. So PK,
Yes.
just to close it up, if you were to go back to your 12-year-old self, it's interesting because you said when you were 12, that's when you started,
Yes.
So, but if you were to go back to your 12-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself right now, knowing what you know?
Man, I would think the same, you
Mm,
know, like, yeah, and most thing too is the education. You know, I wish I was given an opportunity to go to school. You know, but
mm,
my time the school was, you know, it was a camp for the soldiers and
mm,
tear gas and rubber bullet.
mm,
But you know, I wanted to be many things, but I didn't have an opportunity to go to school to be a doctor or to be a law enforcement or you know something that's serving the community,
okay.
you know. But
Uh,
you know, music was even best for me because it
yeah.
served the community.
Mm,
You get the community get away from stress and
mm,
dancing and you know having a good time.
mm.
But
It's healing. It's
yeah,
healing. It's another form. Yeah.
it's healing.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of healing, man, I have this record coming out, and we're launching it October. I think it's coming out October 25th.
Mm,
It's called "What You Hear Is What You See,"
mm,
because I want people to what they hear me, it's what they see me,
yeah.
and then also we're surrounded by music. So this album is coming out, and it's phenomenal. Not just because it's my record,
Mm,
but I got some amazing musicians playing on this record. I think I got about maybe 40 or 50 people working on my
yeah.
on this CD. I got
Wow.
Pooji Bell, drummer, who played with Marcus Miller. He's a good friend of
Yeah.
mine, Pooji.
Mm, mm,
And man, I mean, this album is gonna blow people's mind because it's not just, you know, it's not pop dancing music, but it's all the elements and what the base is, the foundation for everything that's going around. So yeah, so look out. I mean, like, if you guys I'll let you know when it comes out, and
please.
And also too, I'm looking for
we can just
like a radio station in South Africa that they can hook me up and let my music to be heard, you know.
No, most definitely we'll definitely push that word out, because I'm sure even here in South Africa, most people are, you know, eager to hear the works. The works. I mean, I've been following some of your stuff on YouTube, man. I'm looking at all of those American bass players, checking out your music. You know, like all your bass lines. Like, man. And you look at the views. You look at the views. It's like 160,000 views.
Crazy.
Like, man, what else do you want? I mean, we feel very fortunate.
Listen, man, it's all about ASA, man. ASA, you know, they gave me a gift that, you know, I owe my ASA, because I want to go back. I want my bass to be in the music store over there, so that young people can get it and have an instrument that was built for the local. Yeah. Because nobody has done that, you know. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I want to come back, and you guys gotta hook me up because you have the connection.
No, most definitely. We are going to make the biggest noise in South Africa. So everything you're taking out, we are the ones who are going to be your mouthpiece here, telling the entire industry what's happening.
And also, lastly, one more thing, because also too, I'm working with the foundation. It's called the Starfish Great Hearts organization. They built a school in South Africa, so they raise money for the kids, and I'm a big part of that. Last year we raised about $100,000 to give it to the school, to build the school.
Wow.
So
send us a text so we can put it down in the link.
Yeah.
Starfish Great Hearts organization. So I'm gonna keep fighting for our kids to make sure that they get what they need, you know, one school at a time.
No, most definitely.
Guys. I think I've been kicked out now.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.